I, Dr. Premchand Vasist, Professor and Head, GL Bajaj Institute of Technology and Management, welcome you all back in the lecture 4 of Unit 5th. As I have discussed, Unit 5th has been divided into two parts, that is disk scheduling and I/O management. So we have already covered disk scheduling, and in this lecture and in the fifth lecture, I will cover some topics, some concepts of I/O management. The contents of fourth lecture are I/O hardware and devices, input-output subsystems, file system, file concept, file organization and their access methods, access mechanisms, file directories, file sharing, file system implementation issues, file system protection and security. Dear students, before starting the lecture in detail, I want to make you clear that this chapter is very easy. Easy in the sense that you have covered maximum of the topics in one or another subject. For example, some of the topics which I will discuss today have been covered in computer architecture and organization subject, that is CEO subject. Some topics has been covered in the first semester into the introduction of computer programming, and some subject have been discussed some issues regarding the CPU scheduling, disk scheduling, and you are very much aware with the directories, files, what a file is, what a folder is, what a directory is. So for the sake of completion of the syllabus, I am providing you these lectures, lecture 4 and lecture 5, but you know maximum of the topics already. But again advising you, please don't take it as so light. One attempt of revision is must to complete the syllabus. So in this topic, we have the topic I/O hardware. I/O hardware means input-output hardware. The hardware which deals with the communication, which deals with the interface between the computer system, computer processor, memory, and input and output devices is being called as I/O hardware. The common concept are having port, bus, controller. You are aware with what a port is. Bus means how many type of buses are there, control bus, address bus, clock bus. So these are the some topics, these are the some terms which are being used in the hardware system, I/O hardware system. You are aware with direct I/O map, memory mapped I/O. So these are the some topics which are being discussed over here in this I/O management topics. This slide shows a typical PC bus structure. You will see a PCI bus, a SCSI bus, all are connected with the SCSI controller, PCI controller. From the left top, I will take the word monitor. So from bottom to up, I am discussing this figure. This is monitor. Monitor is being connected with the graphics controller, and graphics controller is connected with the PCI bus. So complete explanation of the bus structure, personal computer bus structure has been shown. Here again SCI controller is being controlled by the SCI bus is being controlled by the SCI controller. What is the SCSI? This is small computer system interface. What are the small computer system interface? These are the buses which were invented in the time of mainframe and mini-frame computers. So we are using these terms from that side. SCSI is a small computer system interface bus. We are again using it in the personal computers also. You can see, you are aware with the port, you are aware with the term disk, expansion of bus interface, keyboard. Every connection of the system through the buses has been shown in this typical PC bus structure. If we are discussing IO system interface, then we must have to discuss about the interrupt as well. Because where the requirement of interrupts are there, maximum of the time, if we are giving some inputs or taking some output on that position, on that communication, on that interface, we require some type of interrupts. So a study of interrupts has been done in the operating system. It is also covered in the computer architecture organization. You might be aware, if you have learned the microprocessor, you have learned about the interrupts as well. These are some terms: maskable interrupt, non-maskable interrupt, what are internal request line interrupt, who are the interrupt handlers. So it determines the state of a device, whether the device is busy or it's busy wait, it is in the halting state, execution state, or in the waiting state. So whenever you are discussing some type of structure of the personal computer interface through the IO devices, through the IO communication, IO management, then a must requirement of interrupt is there. The figure you are showing in this slide is a very simple and interesting figure of kernel versus IO structure, IO devices. You will see on the top the kernel of the system, the operating system, how it communicates with the other input-output devices of the system has been shown in this figure. Here you will see the kernel. Kernel is communicating with the kernel IO subsystem. Kernel IO subsystem is communicating with the device drivers. Device drivers are communicating with the device controllers, and device controllers are controlling the devices. Here, for example, I am taking the example of SCSI device driver. You will see from the top to the bottom the kernel IO system. After that, SCSI device driver. After that, SCSI device controller, and thereafter SCSI devices. So all the input-output devices are being controlled by their controllers. Controllers are being driven by the drivers, and drivers are being controlled by the kernel IO subsystem. And at the top, we are having the kernel to manage the working, workflow, communication, interface of input devices with the system. In the last figure, we saw kernel, and after kernel, a kernel IO subsystem. In kernel IO subsystem, we are having the terms, we are having the processes like scheduling, buffering, caching, spooling. When we are just communicating with the kernel through the kernel IO subsystem, then the requirement of scheduling is being taken care by this kernel IO system. Same time, the buffering, you are aware with what the buffering is, storing the data in the memory while transferring between devices. Same is the spooling, but there is a huge difference between spooling and the buffering. Please don't mix buffering and spooling all together. Spooling is required if device can serve only one request at a time, and generally it is required at the time of printing. The next topic is of file system, the file system interface. We will discuss here in what a file concept is, how different methods of accessing a file are there, the directory structure, the file system mounting, file sharing, protection. So these are the terms which we will discuss in the file system interface. So this slide describes about the file concept. How many types of file can be there? File can be contiguous, file can be index, file can be tree structure. Same time, the file types, what are the different types of file, what the file consists. File can have the data, file can have the program. And if we are discussing about the data, what type of the data is there in the file. A file can have a data of numeric values, file can have the data of character and binary, and a combination of all the three values discussed in the data side. If you are discussing about the file structure, file can have sequence of words, bytes, simple record structure, line, file can have a fixed length, file can be of variable length, it can be have complex structure, it can have formatted document, relocatable. So these are the some terms which you are aware, but a requirement of revision is altogether there. So I'm giving you a brief idea of the complete syllabus being covered in the unit 5. I am again advising to go with the Galvin book. The complete information, complete detail of this syllabus has been given over there. In continuation to it, a file is also having some attributes. As the given attributes: name, identifier, type, location, size, protection, time, date, user identification. You are very much aware a file must have a name, the name of the file. File must have a identifier, mean unique tag. File must be of type, what type of the file is, whether it's a PDF, it's a Excel file, it's a Word file, that denotes the type of the file. File must also having some location where the file will be stored, whether in the C, in the D, or what place it will be stored. The size, what type of size is file is having. It is in KB, MB, GB. So this denotes the size of the file. The protections: who can control the file, who can read from the file, can write into the file, or can execute the file. These are some terms which are being required in the term protection. In conclusion to it, file must have the time, date, user identification. So these are some attributes which are there for a file system. Following are some operations which are available in a file. A file can be created, we can write into a file, we can read from a file, we can reposition a file, we can delete a file. Similarly, a truncate of the file can be done. So file is an abstract data type, and various operations which can be performed into the file have been discussed over here. Here some access methods are given. The access method for sequential access, direct access. These are the terms from where we are working with the block numbers, the relative block number. If we have to read some information in the sequential access, then read next, write next, and reset. Here read in the direct access, read n is the relative block number from where we have to read, or from onto the block we have to write. N number is the relative block number. This is the simulation of sequential access file. We are having the place, the current position, that is called as CP. From the current position, we can go to the beginning, we can go to the end, and complete sequentially we can access the file. This is the simulation of sequential access on a direct access file. You can see the sequential access and the implementation for direct access. One column is of the sequential access methods, ways, and another column is of implementation for direct access. We can reset, read next, write next. CP is current position. If we are thinking CP is 0, current position is 0, then read next is read CP, means read the current position. And after reading, we have to increase, we have to increment by 1, that is CP, new CP will be CP plus 1. In the write next, we have to write on the CP current position, and we have to enhance, we have to increment the current position by CP is equal to CP plus 1, means the next CP. This is an example of index file and index relative file. Here we are having an index file and a file that is related to that particular index. Similarly, I am discussing this file only because this might be new for you. This type of structure, this type of example may be new for you, but I think you have studied. If you are aware with the DBMS concepts, then you are aware with the index file and the relative file. Here you will see the name Smith, the John Smith has been indexed with the index file, and from there we can find out the complete information of John Smith, its social security number, its age, from the relative file. Thank you all for listening the lecture 4 patiently. In this unit, we have to cover lecture 5 as well. Then the syllabus of unit 5 will be covered. The references of the slides being discussed into this lecture are being taken from the operating system concept book, Silberts and Galvin. Some contents also being taken from the Geeks for Geeks. And again, the slides has been taken from the website, from the URL provided at the serial number 3.